had issues with your Visco-Lok differential taking too long to lock in or not locking in at all? Well, SuperATV's got the fix with our new Swiftrac Differential. It utilizes a Sprague carrier, armature plate, and magnet. So whenever you click your machine in four-wheel drive, you're guaranteed that all four wheels are going to be pulling hard. So let's go ahead and we're going to show you how to get this thing installed on an OG Maverick. The first thing you're going to want to do is remove your driver's side wheel and then the frontmost 6 screws in your skid plate. We went ahead and left the passenger side wheel on because we're going to show you a trick on how to get the prop shaft loose. So we're going to go ahead and take our wrench. We're going to go right in here to the bolt on the prop shaft. So we're going to take our wrench, we're going to put it on our bolt, and we're going to take our tire on this side, rotate it down, just like that. We're going to do it kind of in a fast motion. And what that's going to do is it's going to break that bolt loose. So just something like that. It's going to land right there on the A-arm, the wrench will. That bolt will be loose now. That way all you have to do is just wrench it right out. Once you've removed your bolt from the prop shaft, go ahead and remove your passenger side wheel and tire. And we're going to jump in here and we're going to get our axle removed. To do that, we're going to go ahead and remove our cotter pin from our castle nut. Then we'll remove our castle nut. And we'll disconnect our tie rod end. And our brake caliper. We'll just let it hang down all the way. And our hub. And we'll go ahead and take the nut off of our bolt down here for our lower ball joint. Then we'll go ahead and disconnect our shock. Just pick up on the lower A-arm, pull our shock bolt out, let our suspension drop down. Then we'll grab a ratchet strap, throw it around the cage. And we'll tie our shock up out of the way here, just like this. And we're going to go ahead and pick up on our A-arms. We'll remove our lower ball joint bolt. Go ahead and remove our lower A-arm from the knuckle. Let it go all the way down. We'll go ahead, pull our knuckle all the way out, then remove our axle. Just take your brake caliper and flip it up out of your way. You never want to let your axle drop because you'll end up creasing your boot. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie our upper A-arm up. That way it stays all the way. And we're going to grab our axle, pull it right out of the front differential, and we'll go ahead and set this aside. Then we'll repeat all these steps for the opposite side. Now we're going to remove all of the lower 4 bolts securing the differential to the frame of the machine. There'll be 2 on this side, as well as 2 on the opposite side in the same location. One thing to be careful about whenever you do remove these bolts is that there's going to be washers on the front and back side of the frame. You want to make sure that you do not lose those because we will be reinstalling them. Now you're going to want to come in here on top of the differential and remove the vent tube. Wiggle it right off. And then just let it sit right there on top of the diff. Then we're going to head on over to the passenger side. We're going to remove the 2 13mm bolts. And you want to be careful whenever you do this because as soon as you remove these bolts, this differential is going to want to come out. As soon as you remove those bolts, just grab your differential, wiggle it off the prop shaft, and there you go. There's your factory diff. So what we're going to do now is remove the cradle off of it. But first we're going to grab our new Swiftrac differential, sit it right next to it, that way we can remove the hardware, reinstall everything onto our new diff, and we're just going to put it right back in. So to remove the cradle off the differential, we're going to remove the nut off of this bolt and remove that bolt, and there'll be one right here on this side as well. There'll be washers on each of these bolts on each side. Make sure you keep those separated. That way we can reinstall them into the new diff. So we'll just pull our old diff off. So we know it's sat just like that. So we're just going to grab our new diff, slide it right into the cradle. Put your washer on there. Put your nut on. Rotate it around. We'll do this side now. Just like that. So you put your washer on there. And your nut. Go ahead and fully tighten the hardware. Alright, so we're going to grab our differential here. Like I said, try to keep this harness up here on top of the diff. You don't want it to get pinched or get in your way or anything like that. I'm just kind of looping it around the vent tube as best as I can. So we're just going to grab it, slide it up in here, and as you're doing that, guide that prop shaft on. You want to line up your bolt holes. So you're going to get your bolts started in there. Make sure you get them started straight. And then you'll want to run these bolts up to hold the diff in place. And then we'll start reinstalling our bolts that secure it to the frame. So now we're going to take our 4 bolts that we removed from the cradle that go to the frame. We're just going to grab our differential, line it up, push our bolts through. We're just going to have to reach up through here. This side's a little bit tighter than the opposite side. You just want to make sure that you put these washers back on. It can be a little bit difficult to get them in. Sometimes it's a little bit easier if you come down here on the bottom. Just kind of put the nut on the edge of your finger. And then just kind of slide it into position. Now we're going to reinstall our prop shaft bolt. This can be a little tricky, but what you'll want to do is just slide the bolt in to the center of the yoke, and then you'll want to line it up with the threads, and then you'll just want to start twisting it in. Now reinstall the vent tube. Now we're going to be filling our differential full of differential fluid. You're not going to be using your factory Can-Am fluid with this differential. You're going to be using Polaris on-demand dry fluid. You can pick this up from a local Polaris dealership. You can order it online. You just want to make sure that you use this. So to fill it up, all you're going to do is remove the fill plug from the differential. And then you'll want to fill your differential up until the fluid runs out. Reinstall your plug, clean your differential up, and you're good to go. So now we're going to grab our wiring harness. We'll go ahead and we'll cut the zip tie that's looming all the wires together. We'll go ahead and extend it out. You can go ahead and unplug it right here as well, just to make it a little bit easier on you, so you'll have a harness just like this. We're going to start from the outside and feed it in towards the machine. We just want to make sure that these 2 connections are the ones going towards the machine. So what I like to do is I like to start right here. And as you can see, we have a winch wired up on this machine. So you can see our red wire right here is going back and up over top of the dash. So I'm going to follow that wire because it's going directly over here to the battery, which is in the same location as the fuse panel. So we'll just take our wires, start feeding them through. So we're just going to grab our wires. We're going to run them right over top of our steering shafts, over top of our power steering, so that it's hanging down just like this. Then once we make our connections, we'll come in here and we'll tie all of our wires up. But if you look right here next to your fuse panel, there's going to be a little white plug. We're just going to go right here. We're going to pop that out. We're going to pull this connection up. And all this is right here, this is just a dummy plug. So we'll just want to press this little black tab down. That way we can get to the actual plug. So we have our male connection. We're going to grab our female connection that is going to be on our Swiftrac harness. We'll just plug it in just like that. And then we'll take the dummy plug that was on the factory plug there and we'll plug it into this. This is also going to be a good keyed-on power source for, you know, if you have any accessories or anything like that that accepts this kind of connector. That'll be good. So all you got to do is just unplug this right here, plug them in. So what we'll do is we'll take our new harness and we'll tuck it back out of the way, and then we'll take the factory clip that we recently popped off the frame here. We'll just go ahead and pop that right back into place. Then we'll head back out to the outside of the machine, pull all our slack through, make our connection, and then tie up all our wiring. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pull this slack through, and we're just going to feed this wire down to our differential and make our connection. Just want to run it as clean as possible. Just drop it down right on top of the diff. We'll run our plug down. We'll just go ahead and plug it in, and then we'll just tie all our wires up, making sure they're not in a place where they're going to get, you know, bent, crushed, anything like that. Just make sure they're all out of the way. Now all you have to do is reinstall the rest of your components, and that's how easy it is to install SuperATV's Swiftrac Differential in this Can-Am Maverick 1000. For more information on this differential or any of SuperATV's great products, feel free to give us a call at 855-743-3427 or check us out online at superatv.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.